She's a little camera shy though. She's a very humble lady. Now the cost of living crisis has been cost of living crisising for some time now, but that's not the only reason people have decided to pull back on spending. I mean, I don't know if you've kept up with the news lately, but there's a lot going on, particularly here in the US, but it has massive ripple effects across the world. Markets are up and down between tariff announcements and this and that. So, in that spirit, I want to introduce you to the Hot Girl Closet Audit. And what is a Hot Girl Closet Audit? Well, it's whatever you want it to be, but at the end of the day, it's auditing what you already have and making the best use possible of what you own. Here at Darling Social, I break down the modern beauty and fashion industry, how they impact your everyday life, and we also talk about beauty history on top of that good stuff. I'm a certified MUA and actor-writer, Lydia-Renee Darling, and welcome to the vid. What is a hot girl closet audit? It means to me that you're getting more specific and conscious about what you own, what you wear, and what you're doing with it. Everyone's priorities are different, especially during a time of economic turmoil, shall we say, to put it lightly. But I'm gonna go through mine, and whether or not this resonates with you, these might give you some ideas for your own closet audit. Now, I'm doing my closet audit in Notion. There are apps for this, some free, some paid. I did have one I believe was called Stylebook way back in the day during like my university years, but I decided not to pay for it again because A, I'm really type A and I kind of want control over my own spreadsheet, but B, even though it's petty and like, yes, I have something like $5 for an app, I don't really want to pay for it again because I paid for it already, but it was on a different phone system because this was before I had an iPhone. So you know what? Fine, we're moving on. I'm doing my own thing. Now, to start with, I actually downloaded a Notion template that I believe someone posted kind of on the Notion free marketplace, just because I didn't want to start with a blank page. It stresses me out and I needed some inspiration for where to start. My major priorities are having a clearer sense of where everything lives. I'm a pandemic grad, so I never really got the chance to move out in a normal way. I moved back in with my mom during the 2020 pandemic madness, and then I moved to the UK for my master's in 2021. I lived in the UK from 2021 to 2024. I came back to the US in October 2024. Awesome timing, and everything's great. But now I commute into London. So I have a lot of stuff stored at my mom's, I have some stored with my dad, I have some stored with family friends, so I really want to track the location of each of my items. So I'm basically trying to figure out where all of my stuff lives in storage before I take it with me. I also have trouble when containers aren't clear or closets aren't open. It's really tough for me to know exactly what I have. It's hard for me to keep track. So this is a way of doing that digitally so I can pick it up at any time, anywhere. Another priority is my weight loss. I was pretty close to the pre-diabetic range. I think in UK I would have been classified as the pre-diabetic range. And I decided to make the really difficult choice to go on Mounjaro. I started it in May 2024 and honestly it has given me so much energy back and I'm able to do so many things that I wasn't able to do anymore. I also just have had major health benefits and a better relationship with food. I've lost about 80 pounds though, and what that means is a lot of my clothes don't fit, but that doesn't necessarily mean you can't just wear them anymore. Instead of replacing it, it's usually more cost efficient to just get a high quality piece like that tailored. So I do want to mark which things need tailoring, like to be taken in, hemming, because I am also very sure. I'm also trying to be clear of what needs to be saved. So these are things that are like sentimental items, so like club t-shirts from high school or like the High School Musicals I did. That's fine, I'll keep it, but I'm not going to keep it to wear, and that needs to be in a separate type of storage. Because I'm an actor, I have to have certain pieces that can be both headshot and audition ready, so they're kind of dressy but not overly formal. I also have to have things for events, whether it's like showcases or like fancy theater outings that I can show up in a fun dressy jumpsuit to, and then my more casual wear, which is just me working from home, maybe going out to a cafe, going out to the park with a friend, taking a walk, blah 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 blah. Your life circumstances may be different, so keep that in mind, but these are my likely categories and what I'm prioritizing in my closet for this year and the years beyond. Enough chatting, I'm going to take you on the Notion tour now. This is the third time I've tried to record this. First time, no audio. Second time, never hit record. So I am gonna do this, and I'm sorry if I seem a little frazzled, but I'm kind of losing it. So this has to be the final time, or I'm gonna lose my entire mind, okay? Okay. Before we start, I want to shout out the person who made the template I duplicated from. So this is the Wardrobe Master Ultimate Closet Organizer. It's by someone called Ada or Ada. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name, but it was free on the Notion website. So I do encourage you to go support this creator. It's completely free to download this template and add it to your own Notion. I basically took this guy, duplicated it to my Notion, and then took away everything that wasn't applicable to me. So you can see that mine looks very different aesthetically, and I added different categories and I took most of them away. But looking at a blank page makes me anxious. So you can always start with something else and then just retool it the way you like if you're like me and you hate a blank page. We're going to go over my virtual closet. So it's far from perfect and it's a work in progress. Added all of my tabs to the side here. The only one that has things populated right now are clothes, and you can see a little preview here. It'll come up if you hover over it. And what was really important to me was to have an overview on the first page with all of my essentials. So you have the style guide here. Underneath is a trip planner, and then farther down is an outfit tracker. And I'll show you how to use each and what you can add in each, and I'll show you how to use each. So for Lid Style Guide, this is just an overview of the things that I have been enjoying most that I've noticed come up, and it's all qualitative. So this was not me tracking any of this before. It was basically in preparation for making this Notion and also wanting a cheat sheet when I went shopping. So these are things you can include too. Favorite silhouettes, I just went for things that I notice I wear a lot. I like a V-neck versus a crew neck. Unless it's a sweater, then I like crew necks. I like off the shoulder and strapless dresses for more fancy occasions. Love high-waisted pants. So I noted all of those things so that I know I'm not really wasting money on things that I'm unlikely to wear. Then I put key fabrics and textures that I really enjoy that come together in my wardrobe a lot. So corduroy, I really like. Denim mesh I like, but only for layering. I'm not super comfortable wearing something that's sheer by itself, but to each their own. These are the things you learn about yourself when you do this type of like exercise. Then I made some overviews of like personality. These were adjectives that I wanted to come across in my clothing to give me an idea of what was speaking to me and why if I pulled it from a rack versus if it still speaks to me in that way in my closet now. And if not, maybe it's time to give it away. Eras are things that really inspire me as far as makeup. I love 1920s makeup shapes, like the eyes, the halo eyes, the lips. So good. And clothing, love late 80s, early 90s, hip hop culture, and a lot of sitcom wear. Those big chunky sweaters with the overalls is pretty much my uniform. So I was kind of making note of all the things I got inspiration from. You can see locations. Some of this is literal, and some of these are places I have shopped, like Shibuya 109. Midwestern Cool, I think, is a good concept for location, but I should maybe add in Duluth Trading Co. because I think that's the store that speaks to that style the most for me. Then I put symbolism and patterns. These are things that pop up a lot in my clothing or I really like, and I put some inspo. These are some figures whose fashion I really like. Tessa Thompson, Sabrina Carpenter, and Lady Gaga. I couldn't fit a picture of Lady Gaga in here, but maybe I'll figure it out later. I also put outfits, current outfits at the time. I think I started making this when I was still in London or about to come back. So these are what I was wearing most often at the time or really resonated, and I kept grabbing in my closet. So that gave me a good idea of what I was liking most so I could keep those items and focus on repairing them, hemming them, having them taken in if something ever happened versus just replacing it outright. Also looking for similar pieces so that I know what I'm realistically going to wear every day. And then from there, I pulled the dropper tool from Canva and I got the closest colors. So I basically went and looked, this blue and this blue, they're not exactly the same if you drop it in the picture, but I kind of estimated the average by myself. And I added the colors that came up the most for me here. I have seasonal outfits. I'm not finished with this. It's basically kind of like a Pinterest board, but just something a little more concise because my Pinterest boards have like 3,000 pins each because I've had them for like 10 years. I put down some color keywords that I could search and some like more concept keywords. So like journalist intern and East Coast wealth. It was giving kind of this Andy Sachs vibe so that I could look for more inspiration in the future and have an idea of what to look up without just drawing a blank, so to speak. And then I have winter outfits, I have spring outfits, and I have summer outfits, and I haven't finished all the keywords for those yet, but those will be incoming. Let's get into the meat and potatoes, which is the closet. I'm really excited to show you. It's not finished. I haven't added all of my items, but here you can see I've grouped all of these by category. And my categories are the type of clothing. So jacket, blazers, dresses, jumpsuits. If you go too specific with your groups, you're going to have a ton of groups to track. But if you go a little more general, this will be just the right amount. So you can see how I've grouped all of these guys. Sweaters, for example, I've got skirts, and this sweater is different from the others, right? This is a cardigan, this is a pullover, but I don't really feel the need to separate that.
Hey, Cece. Cece's here. She's joining in. She's going to help. Cece's such a good cat. You're the best. I love you so much.
Now, I'm going to open these items and show you how you might want to categorize your own. This is by no means, you can name the item right here. That's the title of the page. And then I included the brand because that came with the original sheet, the Notion template that I duplicated. I know I got it from Target, but I don't remember the brand. So for now, I'm just going to say Target. Then I put the category as blazers, the purchase year. I put the size as a question mark at the end because I didn't want to make this size just a select. So you can do like a select tool. I didn't want to just make it small, medium, large, extra large, etc. I wanted to have the ability to type something in so that I could make a note to myself. So for example, this jacket right here is actually a child's large. So I wanted to make sure I was writing that that is a child's large versus an adult large. Now the current location is for tracking where it is in storage. So currently it's at mom's. Or if I'm traveling, I could say suitcase. But let's click mom's for now. Then last worn, I'll show you in a second so you can see how it pops up in the outfit tracker. Times worn 0 and related closet is also empty because I haven't been tracking this yet. And the occasion, I am going to leave blank if it's just for every day, but if it's something specifically I want to take on a trip or I need to take photos of, it'll be in headshots or like, for example, this upcoming trip. Then the status means ready to wear. The status ready to wear means it needs no adjustments. It fits well, there's no tears, rips, there's no stains, no nothing. But if that's not the case, it'll have one of any of these. And the notes was basically for me to expand on what needs to change in the status. So I'll give you an example. This jacket here needs to be mended, but so this tag doesn't get super long and overly specific, I just wrote one pocket needs to be sewn back up. And that's also a useful note because I know I can just straight stitch that either by hand or with my machine. I'm gonna use my machine. I'm too lazy to stitch by hand. But that will let me know exactly what needs to be done and whether or not it's something worth taking to a tailor or something I can do quickly by myself. Let me show you how to use the calendar really quickly. So I'm going to open this up and I'm wearing it today. So you can see I put in today's date under this date property. Now, if you want to track how many times you've worn it and you want it to show up in your little outfit tracker calendar, you have to do two things in this order, okay? And I'm not super technical when it comes to Notion, so I had to learn this the hard way. Now you won't have to. First, you make a relation and then you make a roll up. So the relation is this. You're going to make a new property. You can see here that it's a relation and it's related to this database. So it's related to the clothing database, right? And from there, you can select which page in that database you want it to relate to. So I clicked this dress because I'm wearing this dress. Now for the roll up, you basically click the property, you can see it's a roll up when you add it, and the relation has to be the one you just made with that piece. So this is the related closet. The property is outfit because that's the name of whatever item you have. And it's called outfit and not item. I should actually just change that. But you can calculate count. And then I chose unique values because let's say I do want to track by outfit, and that's the unit I want for this closet later instead of an item. I'd still want each individual item to be tracked, right? So for example, if I wear just this dress versus wearing just this dress and then an outfit with other items, I want every time I wear the dress to be tracked, not just when it's by myself. So I clicked count unique values and you can show it as a number, a bar, a ring if you want to do something fancy like graphs, but that was good enough for me. So that's how you can add that property. And then when you go back to your virtual closet and you look down here, it's right on your calendar. So you can track whatever you've worn if that's something you want to do. You could also calculate cost per wear if you wanted to add the cost of all of your clothing items. And then you could do some sort of relation and roll up combination to track how much you're getting on the dollar each time you wear your outfit or you wear your clothing item. I'm going to show you the trip planner. This one was really easy. You just make a database and you want it to link to an existing one. That's the closet. So I had it linked to the closet here. That's all of the clothes. And then once I had it linked to the clothes, I basically just made a little group. So I sorted the group by occasion. And here are the occasions. If it's just everyday wear, I'm not going to mark it as occasion. It's specifically for things I'm going out that I have to plan for. So let's say you could put in
my cousin's birthday party. I don't know what to wear. Okay, I'm gonna plan to wear this, 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 and this. You could tag it for cousin's birthday party. Happy 21st. I don't know. Up to you. I don't know what your life is. Or you can add other categories down here. And you could even add a view where you do each separate group. So headshots versus the London and Germany trip overall that I'm taking. You could make those all separate. So I could click here and it would just be headshots, and then I could click the next tab and it would just be London, Germany. But it's really up to you and your preference. I don't mind having just an overview of the whole page. The last thing I'm going to show you is what I do with all of these status items. So anything that has a status item that isn't ready to wear, I put a view in for. So you basically just add this in your tab and you can create a filter. This will display the filter or just hide it for you. And the status is taken. So anything I want taken in, it'll pop up right here. If it's anything that needs to be hemmed, you just change the status to hem. Or you could do this all in one tab. You could say action item, and then you could say does not contain, and then you could put ready to wear, and it would show everything else. So it's really up to you and how you want to organize it, but I like having each tab separate. It's still a work in progress. I've photographed about 80% of my clothing. I still have a little bit left to photograph. I haven't photographed any of my jewelry, which I desperately need to do, or most of my accessories like my scarves, but I would say I've gotten a good start on getting all of these items in my closet. So I hope the tour was exciting and useful on your own journey.
I hope this was useful as you're kind of investigating your own consumption, trying to be more specific about what you've already got in your closet. I'm planning on doing one of these for my makeup collection too, and doing a vanity audit. I don't really have a vanity, but you get it. It's about the naming convention of the brand, okay? It's not literal. I'll probably do that realistically after I come home from London. But for now, I'm gonna log off, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.